So if you've seen my Southgate House video, you've seen these drawings before, or drawings from my psychic medium journal. The journal itself is just a illustration log I keep of all the spirits that I've seen since I've been training to be a psychic medium. And here what we have is one of the first drawings I had ever done outside of the one at Ward Hall and I think Heritage Village, of an entity that I saw in the boys' locker room while we were doing our event or preliminary at the Dwight L. Barnes building. Here's what the illustration says. During a ghost box session with group 2 with Dave and Gary, the ghost box kept picking up on kids saying devil. I felt I saw a man pacing behind a pillar in the shower room. He appeared dark, in silhouette. The locker room was dark. He did not notice me, and it seemed to be moving through the area. I felt creeped out, but not fearful. I do have a portion of that encounter, not so much inside the locker room, but more the ghost box session, where we kept hearing the word devil.
Go ahead.
No, I don't want to creep anybody out, but it's kind of interesting. And you folks heard that, right?
Yes, I did.
They were standing right here. And you also heard it with me on the other side in the basement, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So she's heard this both times. Okay, we've already been told. You said, David, the devil's in the basement. The devil's in the basement. So they've said that a few times, which kind of goes along with what we were getting on Ghost Radar. The warning, there's a presence, that kind of thing. As soon as I turned the ghost box on here, it said, the devil. David, the devil's here. Hey guys.
What was that?
Hey guys, what's going on? Do you see something dark here? Are you sure it's not just another man? I'm sorry, what did you say? Oh, kids, is there a monster in here? What is it?
That's what it sounded like.
What does it look like? Is it just a god plainly?
Dude, do me a favor. Can you go back there
Yep.
and then walk back this way? Just like we did?
I'm sorry guys, what did you say?
And then walk back towards me.
Hey guys, tell me what's down here. Are there any kids in the locker room? Is there anybody down here playing football?
See how much more clear the picture is?
Hi, who's down here? Yeah,
Hope that allows me to pick up something.
who's down here? Who's me? What's your name? Who's down here? Are there any athletes around here? Any football players? The devil?
I heard that.
Where is the devil?
Now, if you're like me, you take a lot of things into consideration. The image that I saw inside the boys' locker room, was it a result of the ghost box session? Or was it something I was actually seeing? Around this time, I hadn't been doing the whole psychic medium thing very long, so I did have some trouble believing some of the things I saw, or just seeing things fluidly. Now, I remember this guy. A lot of these things I see, I remember them actually very well. And it was a dark silhouette. I mean, the fingers on them are a little exaggerated. They weren't as sharp, but it was a silhouette of a stalky man sort of pacing back and forth in that boy's locker room. Now, on the more spiritual side, I do like to think about these things a little and say, hey, these kids on the ghost box, if they are kids, are saying they see a devil. Well, things aren't always a devil. And sometimes if it is a child we're dealing with, which inside of this place there were children everywhere. I won't say everywhere, but there are a lot of children spirits. There are a lot of very strong spirits. Anyway, sometimes when they see these things, they equate them to the devil. You know, it looks scary to them. So, naturally speaking, you know, what looks scary? Oh, it's the devil. It's a monster. And I remember seeing this guy in there. And, you know, first impression was, damn, that's creepy. I would probably call it the devil, too. Now, when I did see him, it was a little unnerving, not to the point where I was afraid, but it's your typical creeped out feeling. I wasn't afraid of it. Quite honestly, I should have took my butt up in there and ran a EVP session and a ghost box session and took readings of the room and set a camcorder up, a static cam. But thinking back on it, this guy was stalky. He was in silhouette, just a darkness. It wasn't a darkness you see with a shadow figure, but it was concealed. He did move back and forth in that locker room, sort of pacing, but he didn't give me any attention. And typically when I see a spirit that is sort of on its own world, doesn't pay any attention to me or any other investigators, I consider it a residual. So it very well could have been a residual spirit. I didn't look into it as much as I should have. I wish I could go back. But it could have been intelligent, but it was just sort of very set in its ways, could care less about me. But when I see it in my head, it was just pacing. That's all it did, was pace. And when I think back to just the general feeling inside that boy's locker room, it was uneasy. It wasn't 100% comfortable. It was creepy. And there's a difference between just, oh, an area creeps me out, and that, oh, I'm creeped out. Sometimes an area brings that feeling out of you because there is something in there and it's interacting. It may not notice you, but it's interacting, even if it is a very strong residual repeating imprint. It takes a lot of energy. It's cycling energy, but it has high enough of a frequency that it can disturb you and your grid, so to speak. In a situation like this with that entity, it did cause some disruption, and I wonder, do other people pick up on it? But overall, this is what we saw. This is what I saw. I didn't get any confirmation from any other psychics that were there. I know Garry was there. He's a psychic, but he typically has told his guys that he'd rather not pick up on these kinds of things. And it's very impressive how much his guys hold that line, because we've been on quite a few investigations where I'll see something genuinely creepy and he won't always pick up on it, but I know damn well he can if he wanted to. I mean, there was a pharmacy in Lebanon, I'll put that video out here in time, that he picked up on it. And it wasn't so much that he didn't want to pick up on it, that the damn entity that was in there, or the elemental, which is what I think it was, made itself known. I mean, it was just something separate from a spirit or a ghost. But anyway, it's very interesting. I'll try and put out more of these journal pictures for you guys. If you haven't seen the ones from Southgate House, go check them out. There's some very strong EVP to support the claims of what I saw there.
Ralphie boy.
Come on, Cat.
Come on, Spirits,
What
you know
school
we're
around
fun.
here has black helmets and gold and white and black?
Centerville.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
This isn't. They wouldn't be over here,
No.
would they?
Ooh, that's
There were
the
band
down
jackets
here.
from Centerville
Not
downstairs.
down
Do
here.
what?
But when
Band jackets from Centerville.
Yeah.
they have a football team though, right?
Yeah.
There's 3 guys,
Yeah, if
and
they
that's
played here.
the helmets are black, and they've got
Somebody just come down?
white pants, gold and black.
Yeah.
You guys remember in the maybe early 2000 or late 90s, the 3 guys that were killed in an auto accident after a football game?
Why, I was thinking about that earlier, like 5 minutes ago, that a car full of kids bit it. And I don't know where it came from, but that's just the thought that hit my head was a car full of kids bit
There's
it.
one guy that talks, the other 2 are standing there. He said they won, but then
They won.
they won.
They drag racing.
That's when they died. They died after
Hmm.
the car accident.
Yeah. Maybe she-
It looks, they look pretty contemporary. I mean, the guy has dark, short hair, and he's seems like a kid you'd see today. They're big guys.
Yeah.
He's showing me little glimpses of like head trauma, but they don't want to dwell on that. They're visiting. They're not stuck. They're visiting.
Hmm.
You guys like to remember what it was like when you played football? Some of the thrills of the game? A lot of camaraderie when you lift weights and train with your buddies. I was a football player. I used to love that. It's a good time. You sweat your butt off and then you go home and you relax, but you worked hard, right?
We need to research it. He's saying he wants his mom to know he's okay.
His mom.
We need to research who late 90s,
Late
early
90s, early 2000s. And you're saying Centerville?
It looks like Centerville colors. That's the colors I'm seeing that they're saying it's Centerville, or you said Oakwood.
No, Oakwood's navy blue and gold.
You know who would know? It's probably
I saw 2 kids here tonight with yellow cardigans on. Was that ever a color that was here? Sweaters?
When I went to junior high, it was red and gray. And I don't know, that was in the late 60s.
Would visiting teams have been down here?
I think so.
I think so. I wouldn't think so. This was a training room just for the school.
Of course, they could pop in anywhere. It doesn't have to be where they were.
The energy here would be able to draw that.
So this is the dress.